Derek Overstreet, founder of the New Millennium Group. We're a financial planning firm. We have advisors standing by right now to take your call. 888-999-6370. The reason you're going to want to call is we're going to help you retire 3 to 5 years before you thought possible. The way we do this is by putting together a step-by-step plan. So if you're one of those people listening and you'd like a plan in writing, give us a call at 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370, or go to utahsfinancialplanner.com.
Some of the most meaningful jewelry you own isn't new. It's inherited. A ring from a grandmother, a necklace full of memories, but no longer your style. Duke's Jewelers reimagines family heirlooms into custom pieces you'll actually wear and love. Working one-on-one, Duke's designers honor the original story while creating something fresh and modern. Don't let meaningful jewelry sit unused. Let it live on beautifully. Visit Duke's Jewelers in Springville or online at dukesjewelers.com, where old stories become new treasures.
Believe it or not, this guy actually has friends.
Nice.
This is Scotty G and Friends on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Hey, it is a Tuesday, which means it's a Kurt Helin day. We'll chat with him coming up here in just a moment. Kurt Helin, NBC Sports, ProBasketballTalk.com. Big thanks to Jake Hatch hanging out. He is our designated, Lloyd said, you have to be Scott's friend for today. So I appreciate that.
Hey, I'm always honored to be your friend, Scotty. So happy to be here.
That's all right. You know, it's like my mom would always buy candy for the neighbor kids. Just like pretend like you're his friend for a day.
If you're Scotty's friend.
And don't tell him that I gave you any candy. Don't tell any of that. Just pretend like you like him for a day.
Hey, I'm happy to be here. Thanks for the invite. It's always good to hang out with you, and always good to hang out with Lloyd.
Well, okay, that last part's not true, but
it's always true. Come on.
It was interesting. Ben Jacobson introduced as a new head coach at Utah State, and we'll get to Kurt as soon as he's available. But I do think that it's an interesting hire for Utah State, going that route. Yeah. I had a really fun conversation with him. I kind of nerded out with him on the Ollie shot.
Well, but as you should, because I would ask that same question. Did he have the green light? Because that's one of the more iconic shots in NCAA tournament history. Now, we just got one this past weekend, obviously, with what UConn did. But that one from Ali Faroukman, as she was now the head coach at Colorado State. It's crazy to see how things work out.
Well, okay. But, honestly, would you, you as a coach, you're losing your mind. You run out the clock, take the foul, right?
No. And you're like, what are you doing?
Yeah, but he broke it down and said, nope, I was all for it. I liked it. And that's who he was as a player. So if you're an NCAA tournament historian and you like the big moments, you're going to want to listen to that conversation. Again, it'll be posted up on our podcasting feed. Just search Scotty G and you'll find it on whatever podcasting platform you decide to go with. All right. So NBA action with the Utah Jazz desperately trying to run this thing into the ground for just the final stretch of games. You do the math, and they desperately need to hold. They cannot fall any further up or down, however you want to call it. You like purple or blue? What's your
blue over here? Let me some mango.
See, we got to get the monsters, man. That's the Jake. That's the Jake.
He knows what's up.
Yeah. So when you look at this stretch of games coming up for the Jazz, I'm really excited to see if the commitment level's there to really running this thing into the ground.
Well, it is there.
Because it's got to be there. And the competition is going to allow you to do that.
The competition is going to allow you to do that, sure. Like Denver Nuggets tomorrow night, Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray, just those two alone are enough to do the trick. But something that PK and I were talking about this morning is, Scotty, you look at the minutes that they're playing for the guys playing for the Jazz. He's talking about Kennedy Chandler's playing 40 minutes in these games. Meanwhile, Kyle Filipowski and Bryce Sensabaugh are playing 20 minutes. Bez Mbang is also playing 40 minutes. And PK's got a good point here, Scotty. Isn't that, more of an egregious, hey, we're absolutely, you mentioned running this around. We are tanking to tank. Like this isn't this more, in your opinion, fine-worthy from the NBA than what happened? And that's what we were discussing this morning. It's like, if Kennedy Chandler's playing 40 minutes, this will be the only time in his time playing in professional basketball, especially at the NBA level, he'll ever play 40 minutes, ever.
This just proves more, proves the fact that it wasn't that the Jazz were tanking, it was how they were tanking.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all it was. is that they let gamblers think the guys were going to play for a full game, and then they didn't. They pulled them in the fourth quarter. You probably had a lot of upset gamblers that had a fourth quarter prop bet or a second half prop bet or whatever the case is, and then they lost their minds because of it. And you had a couple of probably well-established sponsors that said, hey, that stuff can't fly anymore. And then they came in, and so the Jazz were like, fine, we'll do it your way. You want us to do it your way? Fine. We'll play this Joe Schmuckatelli 40 minutes.
And it's nothing against Kenny Chandler or Bez Mbang or any of these guys who are on these 10-day contracts. They're getting an opportunity at the NBA level, Scotty, but they are not the caliber of player that's going to help you win games. And watching last night's game, for example, there is no interior presence. I love Oscar Tshiebwe, but he is severely undersized on that front line for the Utah Jazz. Allows guys like Evan Mobley just to feast at the rim. And yeah, you talk about wanting to run this thing into the ground. It's not hard
to
watch how it's happening because it's clearly evident.
I just think the margin of error, we talk about the margin of error of winning. The margin of error for losing is so razor thin.
Sure.
That is why you have to go all in on this, and that's why it's so important. But I was watching the meltdown that coaches are having with Oklahoma City and the quick whistle they're getting and Shea's getting. If you want to talk about the integrity of the game, that's far worse.
Well, Joel Embiid got the same thing last night. I saw some of those calls for him from the 76ers.
Like, if you want to talk about the integrity of the game, I would look way more at that than I would teams that are tanking, because if you're trying to protect the fans, every fan here in Utah wants the Jazz to do what they're doing. Like, if you want to protect the Jazz fans, let them keep doing what they're doing, because the fans are all on board with that.
Well, sure. And that to your point, when you watch a guy like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who's the reigning MVP, probably, I don't know if he's the betting favorite to win the second straight, but I would pick him right now as my MVP if I had a vote, which I don't. But you look at it, and what is happening with the officiating that favors him, and he's been known as the free throw merchant, Scotty.
Yeah.
And he takes full advantage of that, but you want to talk about the integrity of the game. As quick as of a whistle as he is getting, guys like Joel Embiid get, that is what turns fans off to the NBA in mass. They don't want to watch games completely dominated by guys making parade after parade to the free throw line. So I don't know. It's just one of those interesting dynamics at play here. I am genuinely curious to see if the NBA addresses that in any meaningful way.
They won't. No, they won't.
You'd like to think so.
I do.
They did call him for an offensive foul last night, speaking of Shai.
Yeah. They're like, hey, look, we'll give him one.
And their staff lost their ever-loving.
I back in the day when we were working for the Jazz, we were privy to some meetings that would go on, and we would see the officials come in, and they would have a sit down with the broadcasters and go over, okay, this is our point of emphasis. We're working on this year. They would explain rules. It was actually a really cool program, but it was really secretive and behind the scenes. And then when officials would screw up, they would make their necessary disciplinary actions, but it was always behind the scenes. It was always in the, all quiet.
Sure.
I think this stuff needs to be public. If a official screws up in a conference in football, they announce and say, hey, this guy's going to miss some games. He screwed up. This wasn't right. And we missed it. And there's nothing we can do about it now. It is what it is, but just know that official reprimands have been taken. I don't know why the NBA shies away from that. I think the NBA needs to do a better job of saying, you know what? We missed this call. We missed this call. We missed that call. That's going to be better. The under 2 doesn't count.
The last 2-minute reports don't do it.
That's bullcrap. Absolute trash.
I'm just saying that's their attempt at handling it. But there is no, like you mentioned, no repercussions. There are no ramifications for it. Like, oh yeah, we screwed up that call. It's like, well, that's helpful, but what's to stop it from happening again? Well, nothing. Okay, great. That's what we like to hear as a basketball fan.
And and we'll see officials suddenly disappear for a stretch of 3. Okay, it would have been nice to know. It would have been nice to hear something in regards to what's going on there.
Well, and we see this, you mentioned in football, NFL's not afraid to point it out if somebody screws something up. We've had the Big 12 has suspended an entire crew for games. That was, I think, this past football season. The SEC has had that. There's accountability with that, where they literally announced that, hey, this was unacceptable and we're penalizing them for that. In basketball, though, they're like untouchable. They refuse to acknowledge it. Speaking of, you mentioned the fact that they may surprisingly disappear for a game or two or three, and you do wonder, okay, what's going on? But there is no public accountability on that front. And gives lend to obviously all this conspiracy theories out there that exist in basketball. It seems like there's one sport that is rife with more controversy and more conspiracy theories, Scotty. I would like to see anybody argue it's anything other than the NBA, because it is just rife with these throughout its history. And the way that they operate, I'm going to bring up the aspiration situation right now with Kawhi Leonard and the Los Angeles Clippers, and the fact that the NBA apparently just going to kind of let it float out there in the wind. It's like, okay, are we going to allow a billionaire, the richest owner in the sport, to circumvent the salary cap? Like, are you going to do anything about that, Adam?
Yeah.
And that's the problem. Is it just gives people who believe that the NBA is rigged, it's fixed, it's got all these conspiracy theories. It allows them to fester because the NBA does nothing to address it, to fix the issue.
Yeah, and honestly, I've been behind the scenes enough to know that 99% of the conspiracy theories are wrong. Now, I can't speak to the lottery.
Sure.
I haven't been in the room when the lottery balls drop. I've talked to people who have been, though, and they all say, by their all accounts, it's on the up and up. They can't see how honestly, it sure feels that way sometimes. And when the Jazz get hosed again, this is going to feel that way again. But the element of officiating, the element of some of the other stuff that goes on, it's not rigged. It's not tempered down the perception of that. And like we say, perception's reality.
They could quash it real easily. And that all it would take, as you mentioned, is having some accountability, whether it is sending out an email saying, hey, in this game, the officials screwed up. And they don't necessarily have to point out the call if they don't want to. They can just point out, hey, officials screwed up in this game, and it will be dealt with accordingly. That would, I think, can change people's perception of this league. And I have been an NBA fan my entire life, obviously growing up here in the state, with it being the professional sport we had here for most of my life.
Yeah.
I'd like to see it handled a whole lot better, but I've got zero faith that Adam Silver, as the commissioner, will get it right, because it feels like at every turn he continues to bungle this thing.
No, and I feel bad too, because Adam Silver's like the nerd at school that wanted to be liked by everybody. And look, you know what? As the chubby kid growing up, I know, look, I get it. Like, you wanted to be liked by everybody. And so that means that you will acquiesce to anything just because you want to get that little ounce of credibility with the cool kids. Well, Adam Silver has never been a cool kid in his entire life, and he wants to be with the cool kids. So, hey, look, Maverick Carter and your group, I'm going to do whatever I can to make you guys happy. LeBron, you know what? I got you. We're going to be all right. Yeah. The owners, I'm on your side too. Like, we're going to make this work. But when you have to draw a line in the sand, nobody's going to respect you because you bent over backwards for everybody. And then they're like, okay, well, you know what? I'm so angry, I'm going to take it out on the Jazz. Sorry, Ryan, you got to take the brunt of this. And Ryan's like, look, I'm just doing what everybody else is doing. Why are you coming at me? Like, I got to go after somebody, and you're the easiest target. So sorry.
We're allowing the Los Angeles Clippers to circumvent the salary cap.
But yeah, meanwhile, over here, we're creating false businesses to provide compensation.
Yeah.
Gee, that's ridiculous.
Like you mentioned, they could do a lot to fix the perception of this league with some very simple fixes. But I just lack any faith that Adam Silver, anybody in the NBA league offices, are going to do anything towards that end, because so far they have not done so.
Yeah, they won't. All right, so a little bit of programming change. Kurt Helin's going to join us coming up at 1:30, so that gives us a chance to hit a couple different topics. I had Mitch on yesterday, Harper, who does a great job covering BYU. You cover BYU with the Locked On Cougars and as well. So if you're Kevin Young and you know what you've got coming back, let's just say for the sake of argument that Rob Wright comes back, and I think you believe he is.
Well,
correct?
His statement at the NCAA tournament says, if I'm in a college uniform next year, I'm playing at BYU.
Okay.
So if you take him at his word, if he's playing in college next year, he's playing in Provo.
So let's say he is. at BYU next year. You got the Banks kid. Knowing
Branch, you mean?
What's that?
Branch.
Yeah, sorry. My bad.
Yeah.
So if knowing what you have available, what is your point of emphasis in the transfer portal, which opens up 1 week from today?
It is a big man. And now, obviously, Keba Keita has had his moments in a Cougar uniform, but he's out of eligibility. I don't think that Abdullah Ahmed was to any level what they expected when he came in from the G League. And I think it's lent some credence out there to people saying that these G League guys who want to come back to college may not be worth wasting your time on. And Xavier Staten, while he was a highly rated prospect coming out, Scotty, I had people tell me when he committed to BYU, he needs a year, maybe two, before he's really able to contribute to the Big 12 level. So it looks like to me, considering you say Rob Wright, Bruce Branch, don't forget about Dean Ruckert, by the way, a Timpview kid who's coming in as a freshman. Those three are, I think, very talented players, but you got to have somebody who can protect the rim. And Kevin Young, he likes to run an NBA style, and that is he needs a rim protector, a true center who can really back up the guys on defense, but also I think in his heart of hearts, he would like to have somebody who has at least some semblance of an offensive game, whether it's a simple hook shot, something that they can throw the ball into the deep post when in doubt and get a bucket out of them. Because that's one thing they got nothing out of Keba Keita, nothing out of Bidu Ahmed. So, I think the number one priority in my mind is center, even though Kevin Young has said that shooting is his priority.
That's where I was going to go with shooting.
Yeah.
All right, so tell me, this is your chance to tell me I'm wrong.
Okay.
Because I love the text when I go off on a tangent and then you or somebody texts me like, you're wrong on this one. So tell me I'm wrong.
Okay.
Rob Wright never really felt comfortable to me in a Cougar uniform with the setup of the team and what they were asking him to do.
Well, I would agree with you on that because I think he was told or at least understood that he was the third wheel in the three-man alignment that they had, because it was built around AJ and Richie Saunders, AJ DeBonce and Richie Saunders. They were going to be the way I kind of perceived Kevin Young building that roster last year is he wanted to do what the Boston Celtics have. Speaking of Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, you have two premier wings that you funnel everything through, and you do need to have a point guard who can obviously help facilitate that, and that's what Rob Wright was expected to do. But Rob Wright, in his mind, I believe, is like, no, I'm as good as these guys. I want to go obviously show what I'm capable of. And you're right, there were moments where it felt really, really clunky, really, really awkward, and this is, you never want to have a guy like Richie Saunders go down due to injury, but when he was lost for the season, I thought you saw finally a guy like Rob Wright settle in where he's like, okay, now I'm truly one of the featured guys in this. And he really, I thought started to flourish in that. I guess that's the thought. If he sticks around in Provo with no AJ, no Richie Saunders, I know that Bruce Branch is coming in. He's expected to take on an outsized role as yet kind of the next lottery guy that the Cougars are trying to develop. But I think if you're Rob Wright, you're thinking, all right, this is my time to shine.
Yeah. And I think that can be a good thing. It could be a bad thing because if he takes a lot of that responsibility on himself, look, I think he can be an elite passer. I think he can be an elite facilitator, but I think sometimes he feels like the world's on his shoulders. And by the way, this is not any knock on him as a kid. I'm sure he's a wonderful kid, but sometimes you feel like, things are falling apart. I got to be the guy instead of being a facilitator. And you look at BYU when he had 7 or more assists, BYU was going to win that game.
And that happened far too little. Because to your point, he can be that. But I think you and I both know in this day and age of AAU and the way that the youth basketball system is set up in this country, all these guys want to be the man. They want to be the one scoring the buckets. They want to be on the highlight reels. Guess what doesn't get you that highlight reel typically is when you're playing the facilitator role, which is what the Cougars need from a guy like Rob Wright. I would hope that Kevin Young, I'm sure he's talked to him time and time again. I would hope at some point that message kind of gets through to him and he says, you know what? I am going to be that facilitator. I am going to be a little more willing to obviously set guys up for better shots. Because there have been times that it feels like he has gotten really selfish in terms of hunting his own shot. And it really bogged down that offense and it really affected, I thought, a lot of what they were trying to run all year long last season.
All right. The great Kurt Helin will join us coming up at 1:30. The great Jake Blair joins us right now.
Oh, hey now.
Oh, hey now. Hey, you got 8 new vehicles you got to sell today.
Yep, we got to sell 8 more new vehicles. As a matter of fact, I just sold one, so 7
7.
more.
Sweet.
7 more new vehicles.
All
We
right.
just sold a brand new 2026 too, CX-5.
Oh, I love that 26.
Yeah, they bought the charcoal gray premium plus package. Oh, it's
What?
gorgeous.
What is this? What is this? This
So-
matte, whatever.
So it's a PPF that we put on the gray color.
Yeah.
So it looks now we're calling it the Stealth.
That is a paint job that's ridiculous.
Isn't it beautiful?
Oh my! It's one of the most beautiful vehicles I've ever seen.
It's gorgeous. Like seriously, like when when we decided to do it, I was like, all right, we'll put it on the showroom floor, and I'm so glad we did.
Well, when I walked in, I immediately saw it. I was like, "Whoa,
That's different.
Jake's not messing around right now." I mean, Brent can tell you right now. Like, I came in and I was late to the show. I had a lot of other stuff going on. I was like, "Nope, we're going to stop and look at this for a little bit because that is something else."
And we could do this to any car.
You can.
Regardless of color and everything.
Regardless of color.
Awesome.
Yeah. So we put a PPF on it, so it's like almost like a clear brow, like
Yeah,
a wrap.
yeah.
It goes on. It's clear, so it goes and makes it all look matte.
Oh, that's awesome. It really is cool. And that's the kind of stuff you can do because I had a 5 before I jumped in this 50. And the 5, yeah, you really pimped it out. I mean, it was lifted a little bit. We had the tires to go along with it. And I still miss driving that thing around because that was that thing caught some eyes.
Yeah, for sure. You know, that's what I mentioned to Jake earlier. You know, it doesn't matter what kind of accessories you want on the car. We can accessorize it. We could lift it, wheels, tires. We could put extra racks on it. We could do all sorts of stuff to this. We can put on tow packages. I mean, whatever you want, we could do. I can lower them. I mean, you should see some of those Mazda 3s when we lowered them.
Oh, I bet.
They're beautiful. They're beautiful.
So bottom line is the sky's the limit on what you can do. Creativity is over the moon. You can do all kinds of different things, but you're going to get a better price, a better deal today than you will tomorrow.
1000% you will. I'm chasing a goal, and it's very important that the store hits the goal just because we want to say we did this.
Yeah.
So we're going to do whatever it takes to find those car deals today.
Let's go. And I mean, here's the thing with Jake. Jake says that, he means it. He absolutely means it. So if you're looking for a vehicle or even thinking about a vehicle, and there's a lot of people out there that like my credit's shot, I'm upside down, I'm in a bad deal, I can't get out of it. Guess what? You've seen worse.
A lot worse, I promise.
So you come in, you test Jake, because Jake's one of the most competitive dudes I know. And if there's any problems whatsoever that you're dealing with and you think that it's not going to happen, Jake's going to make it happen.
Promise.
Let's go.
Let's make it happen.
It's Tim Daly Mazda Southtown off the 106 South exit. That's Tim Daly Mazda Southtown. I'm a huge fan of Mazdas. All right, so Jake, I drive a 90, or no, my wife drives a 90, and she just got a 90.
I just saw it sitting out here.
Yeah, so it's waiting for her to pick up, which she'll swing by later. I drive a 50, and my kid drives a 3.
Well, are you okay? I need to add the 5.
Well, I traded
no, you
the
need
5
to
in
add
for
the 5 as well.
Yeah,
I
you need the 5.
Oh, okay. Well,
I had a 5.
You
I
want a
traded in
70
for the
or
50.
90.
He and I already talked.
You
about
need the
this.
third row.
He wants the PHEV.
Oh, the PHEV's awesome.
Yeah, I've got a plug-in currently that I drive. It's what I've had for a couple of years now.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's make it happen. It is Tim Daly Mazda Southtown. That's Tim Daly Mazda Southtown, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Hi, this is Alex Kantrowitz. I'm the host of Big Technology Podcast, a longtime reporter and an on-air contributor to CNBC. And if you're like me, you're trying to figure out how artificial intelligence is changing the business world and our lives. So each week on Big Technology, I bring on key actors from companies building AI tech and outsiders trying to influence it, asking where this is all going. They come from places like NVIDIA, Microsoft, Amazon, and plenty more. So if you want to be smart with your wallet, your career choices, in meetings with your colleagues, and at dinner parties, listen to Big Technology Podcast wherever you get your podcasts.
The sun's shining, birds are singing, and all feels right in the world.
Until the season changes, and suddenly you lose your motivation to get out of bed. In fact, 1 in 5 people experience some form of depression, no matter the season or time of year.
At the American Psychiatric Association Foundation, our vision is to build a mentally healthy nation for all, because we want you to live your best life and be your best you all year round.
Please visit mentallyhealthynation.org to learn more.
Make game day yours. tickets,
Food and drinks,
stats,
and streaming.
everything you need is in the Utah Mammoth app. Download today and make game night easy. Download on both Android and iPhone. Tusk Top.
Mom, can you tell me a story?
Sure. Once upon a time, a mom needed a new car.
Was she brave?
She was tired, mostly. But she went to Carvana.com and found a great car at a great price. No secret treasure map required.
Did you have to fight a dragon?
Nope. She bought it 100% online. From her bed, actually.
Was it scary?
Honey, it was as unscary as car buying could be.
Did the car have a sunroof?
It did, actually.
Okay, good story.
Car buying you'll want to tell stories about. Buy your car today on
Carvana.
Delivery fees may apply.
Hi, this is Alex Kantrowitz. I'm the host of Big Technology Podcast, a longtime reporter and an on-air contributor to CNBC. And if you're like me, you're trying to figure out how artificial intelligence is changing the business world and our lives. So each week on Big Technology, I bring on key actors from companies building AI tech and outsiders trying to influence it, asking where this is all going. They come from places like NVIDIA, Microsoft, Amazon, and plenty more. So if you want to be smart with your wallet, your career choices, in meetings with your colleagues, and at dinner parties, listen to Big Technology Podcast wherever you get your podcasts.
You're listening to Scotty G and Friends on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Scott Gerard, Jake Hatch hanging out with us today. He is the designated friend of the program. And joining us now, one of our favorites. We always consider him a friend. I don't know if if it works both ways on his part, but the great Kurt Helin, NBC Sports, ProBasketballTalk.com, joins us. Kurt, how are you?
I'm doing good. You know, I'm glad somebody's there to prop you up for a day, Scotty. And just
I know, right?
hold you up.
I know. Hey, look, sometimes it's a lot of heavy lifting, but Hatcher here is up for the challenge. Hey, all right, so is there any kind of urgency from the NBA or any concern from the NBA that anybody who plays Oklahoma City right now, the coach is losing their mind on the whistle that Shea's getting?
I'm sure that will come up, but, I'm not sure what they're going to do about it because everybody hates that guy when he's on the other team and loves him when he's on, Luka, frankly, going back to Jordan. A lot of these guys, you run into the body, you get the call, and at a certain point, it's part of it, and it'll go away a little in the playoffs. There's a little more contact allowed, but I'm not sure what the league's going to do about it. Certainly not in the short term. Again, in the playoffs, they'll let a little more go. But I'm curious if they adapt this, if there's any changes for how they just want to call standard drive plays next year, because they tried to change it a couple of years ago, remember? Mm-hmm. Where the defender was supposed to be able to kind of, stay in his lane and any contact that was initiated by the driver would not be a foul. But let's be polite and call that called inconsistently. It's not the way it always goes.
Well, you talk about points of emphasis, Kurt, and that's something the NBA is obviously every season they come out with this list hey, we're going to focus in on this and this and this, and it feels like they enforce it for the first month of the season, and then they get the stars whining about it, for lack of a better term, and all of a sudden things change. Do you think, and I look at example like Joel Embiid last night, he had a number of calls I think a lot of people were calling out. Do you feel like is there a simple fix for that? Is it a culture thing, I guess, is the best question. Is it ingrained in the NBA culture?
I think a little bit. I think that what happens with those is they do call everything. Part of it is that the players kind of adapt. If you keep calling it, the players will adjust, right? And just like in any sport, any game. But then, man, they're trying to win, and they're going to push, hey, how much can I get away with here? Can I get back to this? Can I get back? And they start pushing it back, and it just kind of all too often kind of gets back to closer to where it was or some version of that. So, yeah, I'm not sure how they ultimately change that, because it's always, man, we're going to get a lot of travel calls the first month of the season, but then the rest of the season, it's just not like that anymore.
So if you were to say this is the biggest threat to the integrity of the game, I don't think it's tanking, but of course that's what Adam Silver, went around. What, in your opinion, is the biggest threat to the integrity of the game?
The league's close relationship with gambling.
Ooh,
that would
go.
That would be higher on my list of concerns of things that could ultimately tamper with. I mean, we've obviously already had arrests and they'll the Terry Rozier thing with prop bets, and like I don't see how that goes away. I mean, again, Rozier's making $26 million this year, and he's still allegedly involved in this kind of thing.
Yeah.
I see that being in a continued presence and prevalence, especially with the kind of betting that's out there, like baseball has dealt with, where, hey man, I can throw a ball on the third, the third pitch of this at bat and tip my buddies off that it's coming. Like, I don't know in basketball how the closer you get to them, I just don't know how you get away from that. I think it's going to be messy long term. I think the foul calling will become an issue again as the playoffs go on, because it always is. It is always a playoff issue, and especially with the Thunder likely to make look, they're the odds-on favorite to win it all. Shea is going to win another MVP, and this will all come up again.
All right, Kurt, you may have already just answered my next question, but we have a guy like J.J. Redick stumping for Luka Doncic to be NBA MVP, and then you have Shea last night. He said, I let my game do the talking, and we've had guys like Victor Wembanyama who've said, hey, my defense is what sets me apart. Just kind of handicap the NBA MVP race at this juncture.
Yeah, everybody will watch. If you're going to get your bets in now, I'm just telling you to get your bets in now, because Tim Bontemps' list comes out later this week at ESPN, and when the straw poll comes out, that will how should I say, define the market is the term I will go with. I would say from my perspective, and I'm curious what others will say, but I am a voter, I have Shea a pretty clear lead. Like, I have Shea 1. Right now I have Jokic still 2. The guy's averaging a triple-double. They're playing great basketball. I can make a case for Wembanyama second. I have him third, but I think you could go either way. I'll be honest with you, what holds me back on him is minutes played. He just, compared to, I looked it up this morning because I was down that rabbit hole. He's played more than 7 48-minute games less than Jokic this year. And that's a lot of minutes. That's just a lot, even though the games are close. So, and I have Doncic fourth, and he's going to – I would say Doncic is going to complain about that, but literally what doesn't Doncic complain about? So I'm not sure. But, like, the challenge really is that all 4 of them have had really good seasons and really impressive statistical and otherwise seasons, and you're kind of splitting hairs trying to divide them up. I think it's going to be those 4, and then with Cade out, I think that 5th spot's probably, I don't know, Jaylen Brown or Donovan Mitchell, probably. I don't think Ant's kind of slumping lately. Donovan's kind of come apart, which may give it to Jaylen Brown, but we'll see.
So, how do you feel like the transition for the Portland Trailblazers is going, and what's the NBA thoughts on where that's at right now?
They are excited to have an owner who wants to spend some money and try to do stuff like look. Paul Allen cared. Really cared, right? And they didn't always win up in Portland, but he's the kind of owner you want to have, right? He's engaged. He's involved. His sister, who ran it for the trust for years, she liked the prestige of being an owner. I'm not sure that it was necessarily good for the team. This guy has owned the Carolina Hurricanes, for people who don't know, and I want to say a couple other sports. He's very involved in pickleball, I've learned. But the Carolina Hurricanes, look, I don't follow the NHL that closely, but I know that they picked up some banners recently. Like, that's been a good team for a while, and I think that there's some real optimism in Portland now that, hey man, they've got some interesting young players. They might pick up a couple more, and how can we start to really, Scoot hasn't quite panned out like they'd hoped, but there's a lot to like there about them kind of finding a direction and going that direction and turning that into something. And he got what he wanted, by the way. The state will be paying for major upgrades to that arena, which it kind of needs.
Yeah.
All right, Kurt, so bringing it closer to home, a lot of Utah Jazz fans are excited at the prospect of the Jazz being far more competitive next year when they have their full complement of roster players.
Yes.
That is the expectation. What we're seeing from Ace Bailey right now is he's being given a big opportunity to kind of just show what he's capable of as his rookie season comes to a close. What have you observed, and do you think that this is stuff that Jazz fans should buy into in terms of what he can project to the future here?
You should absolutely be buying in. I don't know that he's going to be able to put up. Look, March numbers can get.
Yeah.
March basketball gets a little weird, as I know you guys were talking about before. Look, even those of us who do this for a living get to some points with the Jazz and the Kings and the Wizards at this point in the season. And if you tried to play who's he play for with me, I'd be like, yeah, I don't know. I like to mock Charles Barkley when he fails that early in the season, and then we get to this point in the year, I'm like, yeah, I got no idea. But I think next year you're going to see a Jazz team. I think what Ace Bailey is doing is real, and he can absolutely – look, man, it looks to me like not only is he attacking and just seems more comfortable, but the game slowed down for him. He kind of knows where he's supposed to fit, what his role is going to be. And he'll have to adjust that next year when – look, Lowry's going to get a bunch of touches, right? And touches are going to go other places. But if he can fill that role on the wing, he can absolutely be with George can be part of and some other guys be part of what's being built long term here. I mean, JJJ isn't that old. Like this is a pretty young team that can be pretty impressive, like as pretty quickly next year.
I think we talked a little bit about this last week. Look, my weeks are running together now, so I apologize. But I was
you and me both.
Yeah, I was calling that Utah State game against Arizona, and the Kansas game was right before us, and I was sitting courtside, and I made sure to get to it early because I wanted to really say I really wanted to. Figure out if I could see the body language of Darren Peterson.
Yeah.
And it wasn't good. Now, the skill set's through the roof, there's no doubt. And I don't think he's healthy, but you could see, like, the side-eye to teammates every now and then. And maybe this isn't fair just because I'm looking at it from a standpoint of just one singular game. But I could see why an NBA GM would be a bit hesitant there.
Yeah, I think in a lot of minds right now, he's like AJ's passed him on most boards. Again, it will come down a little bit to who wins the lottery, but because there's some eye of the beholder stuff there. But there's some concern about, look, he's had a couple health issues. People really want to see the medicals. They want to talk to him. They want to see if this season was just kind of a one-off or not. I think part of the issue, honestly. I watched him. I didn't get to watch him a lot before this. I watched him some of the tournament. Why is Bill Self playing him off the ball? Or was playing him off the ball? Dude, if you have a really good player, you put, especially at the college level and below, you put the ball in his hands a lot, right? So there was some maybe part of that. Seemed to be a lot of things going into it. I also get the sense a lot of teams are willing to look past it, are willing to just say, hey, you know what? I think he's that good. I think we're going to be fine. Let's take him high because, like you said, the skill set, the size, the athleticism, it's unbelievable. What he showed in high school was unbelievable, and he just hasn't looked as explosive this year. And as long as the medicals don't show that that's something long term, then I think teams will buy in. My guess is he still goes. Honestly, my guess is he still goes second.
Yeah.
And Boozer goes third, and Wilson probably fourth, and then everybody will think Acuff dropped too far. So
yeah, exactly. All right, so our good friend Tony Jones, who was in this market for a long time.
Tony.
Tony is the best, but Tony is prone to make.
I would say Tony's the best, but I wouldn't say that to his face because I don't.
Oh yeah,
no, that's a bad idea.
That head's getting big enough already. So
yeah, exactly.
But Tony is prone to making big, bold statements, and a lot of times he forgets that he makes them a year or two later when you try to call him on it. But he came on the show last week, and was it earlier this week? I can't remember.
It was last week. Yeah.
And he dropped this bomb, and I want you to hear it and give me your thoughts.
You ready for me to get wild on here?
Well, let's go.
I'm going to get
Let's
wild on this show.
Let's do it.
If the Utah Jazz get AJ DeBancer, they're winning an NBA championship within 3 years.
So, if the Jazz get AJ DeBancer, given their current roster as is, the Jazz will not make the playoffs. not be in a Western Conference Finals, not even be in an NBA Finals, Kurt. They will win the whole darn thing in 3 years or less.
Yeah, that's pretty bold. I don't. I don't think. The thing is, I don't think it's outlandishly crazy. It's not. I'm trying to think. I was about to say it's not Loch Ness Monster, except like everybody believes in the Loch Ness Monster, so that's like not going to work. But it's not like if everything clicks. If they get the Bonsa, put him on the wing, and you've got Kennedy George, you've got obviously Markkanen and JJ, like that whole thing, suddenly that looks like a really good team. You've got a really good coach. You got a really strong organization. And suddenly that thing comes together in a couple of years and looks really good. They could, how about it this way? I would say that they could be in the mix for that. It's hard for me to say, man, they'd win it because there's this 7'5" guy in San Antonio that's going to have a lot to say over the next few years about who wins. Like, it's just winning it takes – Oklahoma City's still going to be good. Boston's not good. Like, it just takes a lot of things to go right to win a championship. But I'm with him on the sentiment that, like, within 3 years, they could absolutely be contenders. They could absolutely be in the mix for this thing. I can see that happening. I'm not as bold as Tony, but I am a better 3-point shooter. So.
Oh, wow. I will say that. And the thing with Tony is he's the best basketball player that nobody's actually ever seen play. And so
he started playing in the media run. Like if you go to All-Star Weekend or during the finals, there's media runs. And I just haven't, from health reasons, just knee issues, just haven't done it for a while. And he started jumping in. So I really never got to see him play. I'm kind of bummed about that.
Yeah, because he is the best basketball player nobody's actually ever seen. All right.
Yeah. He's quite confident in his skill set.
Oh, yeah. And he loves to fight on Twitter. So that's always fun. We always enjoy that. Hey, Kurt, you're the best, man. Thanks for joining us, and we look forward to catching up with you again here very soon.
Take care, Scotty. Take care, guys. Bye.
You got it. Kurt Helin, NBC Sports and ProBasketballTalk.com. All right. Coming up next, we continue to, tell you what, quick segment coming up next because, Jake, Bill Armstrong.
GMBA?
That's the man. Hey, by the way, I saw his doppelganger today.
You saw Clark Kent?
No, the new coach at Ben Jacobson.
Oh, that's true. That's a good point, yeah.
Ben Jacobson and Bill Armstrong could be brothers. Boy, that jaw that could just cut glass.
True.
So we will hear from him coming up right at 2 o'clock, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Every day, the world gets a little weirder and a lot more awesome. Cool Stuff Daily takes a look at everything from mining in space to the latest in the fight against cancer to how AI is, basically changing everything. It's all the cool stuff you didn't know you needed to know. Join us for Cool Stuff Daily as we take a quick look at science, tech, and the wait, what stories that make you sound way smarter at dinner. Subscribe to Cool Stuff Daily now, because the future's happening fast, and it's way too fun to miss.
Mom, can you tell me a story?
Sure. Once upon a time, a mom needed a new car.
Was she brave?
She was tired, mostly. But she went to Carvana.com and found a great car at a great price. No secret treasure map required.
Did you have to fight a dragon?
Nope. She bought it 100% online. From her bed, actually.
Was it scary?
Honey, it was as unscary as car buying could be.
Did the car have a sunroof?
It did, actually.
Okay, good story.
Car buying you'll want to tell stories about. Buy your car today on
Carvana.
Delivery fees may apply.